Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
We're not even getting into any of that stuff. Our guys are in great shape. They're ready to compete. If Denver wants to tip this thing off at the top of Everest, we'll do that. This thing is going to be decided between the four lines. They also got to come back to Miami if we want to make it about that. We'll turn off the air conditioning. They got to play in 90-degree humidity.
The narrative wasn't about the Nuggets. The narrative wasn't about Nikola. The narrative was about the Lakers and their adjustments. So, you put that in your pipe, you smoke it.
Talk about it!
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim.
Hoops talk for the streets.
Family, what's good? Welcome back to another edition of Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets. You already know how we do, family. Brought to you, as always, it's your host, Justin, a.k.a. Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill to get in contact with me. You can always hit me up and follow me on Twitter at JustBlaze_513, on IG at JustBlaze513, on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Above the Rim Podcast. Also, email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Tap in and leave the family a voicemail. You know the line is always open. 908-718-1592. That is the number that you need to call in and leave voicemails. Best way to support the show is by copying merch, family. I appreciate it, of course. Link is in my bio. Show some love. I appreciate everything, of course. I'm doing a merch giveaway soon. So, family, make sure you stay tuned for that. Look up on me for that. Make sure you leave your boy a review on iTunes and Spotify if you rock with the show. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe. Comment, show some love, tell me your thoughts. I want to hear from the family as well, especially on this NBA Finals. When you're on the YouTube page, make sure you go down in the comments. Let me know your finals picks. If you got the Heat, if you got the Nuggets, whatever the case may be, your thoughts. Who's getting worked in this series? Let me know, family. I'm here for it. NBA Finals are here. I know this wasn't the NBA Finals that a lot of people, including myself, were expecting. But here we are now. And we gonna enjoy that shit, right? No hating agendas, not too many unlikable players, just some great hoops coming your way. And family, it's about that time. Break down this series the only way I know how. The streets way. Miami Heat versus Denver Nuggets NBA Finals preview. This is the first time since 1999 a number 8 seed will be taking on a number 1 seed in the NBA Finals. Only the second time in NBA history that an 8th seed has made it to the NBA Finals. The Knicks were the other back in 1999, which was a lockout year, as a lot of you all know. This is Denver's first appearance in the NBA Finals, and this is Miami's second time in 4 years. The 2-time MVP and the number 1 seed in the West versus playoff Jimmy and the lowest seed in the entire playoffs. 2 unlikely teams, 2 patient teams battling it out. A true underdog series, and I'm not mad at it, right? Betting odds for this series are ridiculous. The Nuggets are the heavy favorites. ESPN had the nerve once again to disrespect the Heat by giving them an 11% chance to win this series. Clearly, they didn't learn their lesson from last series before by giving them a 3% chance last series to win the series against the Celtics. Now they upped it to an 11%. The disrespect. I'm sure that graphic was posted in the Heat locker room everywhere for that motivation, as well as last series with that 3% disrespect. The Miami Heat are pretty much in a familiar underdog position, while the Nuggets are not this time. This will be the first time the Nuggets are favored in this series, other than the first round when they played against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Heat are extreme underdogs in this series, and they are playing with house money. Both teams had a hell of a journey to get to the NBA Finals, family. Let's go over their journey to get to the NBA Finals and what they have done to meet each other up until this point, right? Miami had an unreal playoff run, and their playoff run continues. They lost their first play-in game to the Hawks. They beat the Bulls in the play-in finale to get that number 8 seed. They knocked out the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo. They beat the number 5 seeded Knicks in 6 games. They beat the number 2 Celtics team in the Eastern Conference Finals in 7 games. The first play-in team to ever make the NBA Finals. And as I said before, the second number 8 seed to ever make the NBA Finals. The Heat have 7 undrafted players in this postseason, the most undrafted players to play in a postseason for an NBA Finals team. The Heat this season, they are one of the most unlikely NBA Finals opponents that we have seen probably in the history of the NBA, right? Offensively, the Miami Heat were a mess for this entire regular season, right? They were dead last in points per game this year, 3rd to last in rebounding, and 5th to last in assists, right? A large part of that was a fall off in the three-point shooting from last year to this year. In 2022, the Heat shot almost 38% from deep. This year in the regular season, they only shot 34% from deep. And this playoffs, they're shooting 39% from deep, right? And it's a big reason why they have been winning, right? There's never been a team that's been so anemic on offense in the regular season, but turns it up in the postseason like this. In the postseason, the Miami Heat have gone 13-6 in this playoffs, right? So they have really solidified themselves as a worthy NBA Finals opponent and really turning the tide on their season. On the Nuggets side, pretty much a number 1 seed in the West all year. They took care of the T-Wolves in 5. They had a battle with the injured Phoenix Suns that went 6, which was the real Western Conference Finals, in my opinion. Then they smacked the Lakers in embarrassing fashion. The Lakers had no business in the playoffs, by the way. I'm going to keep it a buck there. I'll talk about them a little bit later because getting swept in the conference finals is truly embarrassing. Le sweep, le gone, I don't care. It was ridiculous and embarrassing, right? The Nuggets had plenty of time to chill after that spanking of the Lakers, right? The Nuggets have been off for 10 days straight, which is an insane amount of time in the middle of the playoffs. Just the 4th time in the past 2 decades that a team has gotten that long of a break before the NBA Finals. Joker had enough time to go to Serbia and come back and play with his horses before the NBA Finals Game 1, right? So I assume the Nuggets will be well rested, ready to go. They don't look like a team that gets distracted very easily. They only have 3 losses in the playoffs thus far. They've been excellent throughout the postseason, throughout the regular season, and throughout the postseason as well. So this is a debate pretty much going on around which team had the more impressive title run. And there's a valid argument on both sides, in my opinion. The more impressive finals run to me, though, is the Miami Heat, in my opinion. An AC taking out a number 1 seed, and not only the number 1 seed, but the 2 top seeds in the conference is unbelievable. It's unbelievable for the Miami Heat. So I got to give them a lot of credit, and that to me is the more impressive NBA Finals run. So let's talk about the main key storylines going into the NBA Finals right now. The Nuggets and Heat have been the 2 best teams in the postseason thus far. The Nuggets are number 1 in offensive rating, top 5 defensive rating. The Heat are 2nd in offensive rating, top 5 in defensive rating as well. These 2 teams met twice in the regular season, with the Denver Nuggets winning both matchups by a combined 9-point margin. So it really wasn't that much of a blowout in any of those games. The Nuggets haven't lost basically to the Heat since the bubble. That's been a couple of years now. There's already slight bad blood in this series between these 2 teams, but not too much. If y'all remember back in November 2021, Jokic shoved then Heat forward Markieff Morris from behind, injuring him in what ultimately cost the veteran 4 months of basketball. The Morris twins were ready to set trip on Jokic after that, but the Jokic brothers, they were ready for the smoke after that. So they weren't having any of that, right? I don't think any of that carries over into this finals, but it was something to mention. It was something to monitor, or something to watch. They asked Jimmy Butler about it recently, and he said he wasn't really talking to Jokic when he said that, but he said there was somebody else on that Nuggets team that knows exactly who he was talking to when they went in that scuffle. So I don't think there's any real bad blood in this series, but I am mentioning that because that was a little bit of smoke, which we hope to see a little bit more of the smoke going into the NBA Finals. But that was a nice little scuffle that they had. What I'm watching for in this NBA Finals, right? Let's get to it. Number 1, which star will shine brightest in key moments? Nikola Jokic or Jimmy Butler? Both have been extremely clutch this postseason. Jimmy Butler's postseason stats averaging 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 48% from the floor, 35% from 3. He increased his scoring average up to 6 points in this playoffs. Butler has elevated the level of play of everyone around him, hitting big-time shot after big-time shot, exuding the type of confidence that you need from your superstar player, right? Never giving up hope, always fighting, injured or not, allowing guys like Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Max Strus to shine in different moments and in different games, contributing in valuable ways. Jimmy Butler leads the ultimate respect put on his name in this postseason, right? I have to give credit to Jimmy Butler for getting his team in this position once again. He's been nothing short of everything that the Heat could ask for in a star since coming to Miami. He took Miami to the NBA Finals for the first time since the LeBron era, 3 conference finals and 2 NBA Finals appearances in the 4 years that he's been in Miami. First number 8 seed, as I said before, to go to the finals since 1999. The first play-in team to make the NBA Finals. Great leader, Heat culture personified. This man is doing nothing but winning, and you gotta applaud that. You gotta applaud that. Jimmy Butler has been nothing short of incredible, and there were a lot of people that were trying to play the Heat when they were signing Jimmy Butler at that time. They said they were doing too much. They gave him too much money. Jimmy Butler can't be a number 1 option. Jimmy Butler can't lead a team. Jimmy Butler can't be the best player on the team and lead you to an NBA Finals. He's done it twice. Put some respect on that man's name, right? Put some respect on his name. So if the Heat have any chance of beating the Denver Nuggets in this series, it's because Butler has an all-time performance in the NBA Finals. And he did it the last time he was in the NBA Finals against LeBron James. Remember that, right? The Nuggets, they have been playing some very tough defense throughout the postseason, especially in the first 2 rounds. There were times in this series, there were times in the playoffs, and especially in the series against the Lakers, when there were some cracks in the defense, right? So we're going to see if Miami can exploit some of those cracks in the Denver Nuggets defense. And speaking of the Denver Nuggets, let's talk about Nikola Jokic right now. These are the 2 stars that are aligning in this series. What else is there to say about Nikola Jokic right now? He's been great. He's been exceptional this entire playoffs. He's leading all the Nuggets players in scoring while ranking 4th among all playoff participants in points per game, 2nd in rebounds per game, and 1st in assists per game. The 2-time MVP stands among rare company as just one of 4 players that average a triple-double during a postseason run. He's averaging 29, 13, and 10 on 54% shooting and 47% from 3. He's already set a record for playoff triple-doubles with a whole final series to go. He's going to be dynamite and again in the NBA Finals. And there isn't anything that the Heat can do about Jokic but to hope that he misses, right? He's going to be as patient as ever, get into his sets, make his reads, maybe score, maybe pass, but he's always going to make the right play. And you could count on that from Nikola Jokic, right? Bam is going to defend Joker well, but it definitely won't look like that in the box score. I'll tell you that right now. Nikola Jokic is shooting 17 of 27, which is 63% when defended by Bam Adebayo in this season. So like I said, he's going to play great defense. We know Bam Adebayo is one of the better big defenders in the league. But against Jokic, it's not really going to look that way, especially not going to show in the box score. So you're going to have to watch the game to actually see how good of a job Bam Adebayo is doing against Nikola Jokic, right? So those are the 2 stars. Which one of those guys will come up clutch? Which one of those guys will come up clutch most in more moments in the NBA Finals is what will determine this series. Jamal Murray scoring. Even though Jamal Murray has 0 NBA All-Star berths, his talent level is definitely All-Star level. He's averaging 27, 6, and 5 a game, shooting 48% from the floor and 40% from deep on 8 attempts per game. How much havoc will Jamal Murray cause in the lane this series? It's going to be a lot. It's going to be so much havoc that he's going to cause in this series. He's been one of the best playoff performers thus far, hitting big shot after big shot. The 2-man game between him and Joker has been looking as crisp as ever. Crisp as ever throughout this postseason. I'm expecting another big series from Jamal Murray, from him, because the Nuggets need him. They need him to have a phenomenal series, and they need him to play at his absolute best in order to win this series, right? He may have to be the leading scorer for the Denver Nuggets in order for them to win this series, right? Moving on. Bam Adebayo. Bam might have to increase his scoring in this particular series, right? He's averaging 16-9 in the postseason, but that may have to be bumped up to about 18 or 20, in my opinion, in the NBA Finals, right? They have to make Joker think on defense, right? That may be the key. We don't know if Joker is going to be in drop coverage. He might be, which he has been up for a lot of this postseason. Bam has to keep Joker honest and make himself a scoring threat, more of a scoring threat in this NBA Finals. I expect to see a little bit of Kevin Love on Jokic in this series, especially in the post from time to time, because it will allow Bam to be able to roam the paint. I saw the Lakers try to do that as well with using Hachimura to guard Jokic a lot and then using AD to be allowing AD to roam the lane and play that weak side help, that weak side defense. I'm looking to see a similar thing going on here with the Miami Heat as well with Bam Adebayo. So I expect a lot more from him in this particular series than he's shown in that Celtics series. I expect a lot more ball handling from Bam as well. He should basically, in this series, become Joker light in this NBA Finals in order for the Miami Heat to do what they need to do to win this series. Speaking of the Miami Heat and their adjustments, Miami Heat playing zone, and how effective will it be in this series? We know what's going to happen, but how early and how often is it going to happen in the NBA Finals? Miami is the best zone team in the league. The Denver Nuggets were the number one offense in the league versus the zone, regular season and in the playoffs this season. Will Miami's zone defense cut down the Nuggets' ball movement? They sure hope so. They want to. That's going to be one of their main defensive weapons that they use against the Nuggets to confuse them a little bit. But will it be effective? I'm not sure. We will see. Time will tell. But it's going to have to, right? Because the Miami Heat zone defense causes a lot of teams in the NBA multiple problems. We saw it in the last series against the Celtics. The Celtics were struggling every time the Heat went zone. The Heat played a lot of zone defense in that Game 7 win in Boston. So they couldn't really handle the zone defense too much. But why is that? Because the Celtics are a team that has a lot of isolation. They do a lot of isolation baskets, a lot of dribbling, Tatum dribbling at the top of key, Jaylen Brown dribbling too much, Marcus Smart dribbling too much. There were too many guys dribbling on the Boston Celtics, and that's why the zone was so effective. The difference between with the Denver Nuggets, not a lot of people are handling the ball. It's going to be Jokic or it's going to be Jamal Murray. It's going to be a lot of back screens. It's going to be a lot of back cuts. It's going to be a lot of pin downs. It's going to be a lot of two-man games, a lot of screens. Against the zone defense, if there's a way to attack a zone defense, you're going to lead a lot of high screens at the top of the key or above the free throw line if you can in order to attack that zone defense. And you also got to hit your shots. So when Miami goes to it, I'm looking to see how Denver will adjust to all the schemes, to all the different variations of the zone defense that Coach Spo is going to throw out, right? So we're going to see how they adjust, and that's going to be a very tactical adjustment. Points off turnovers in this series. Miami is the number one team in points off turnovers in the playoffs. Denver Nuggets has allowed the third fewest in the playoffs, but this will be their toughest test of a big weakness for them. Miami gets their hands on a lot of steals, a lot of deflections. They get into the passing lanes very well. Sometimes they play a little tight on defense, but they can double from time to time. They really try to really confuse the offense with different screens, different adjustments, and it can confuse people from time to time. So we're going to see how much deflections the Heat get, how many points off turnovers they get in this particular series, because this is going to help them, and they're going to need to get out and run against the Denver Nuggets if they are going to want to score early and often against these boys. We talked about that. Coaching adjustments. All of that goes into the coaching adjustments, which may be the most important thing in this particular series. Coaching. The Heat and the Nuggets have two of the top 4 longest tenured NBA head coaches. Eric Spoelstra, hired in 2008, has been around only less time than Spurs coach Greg Popovich. Mike Malone took his spot in 2015. We got to give Spo his flowers while he can still smell it. He is the best coach in the NBA, period. No other coach can do more with less. A true leader of men. Eric Spoelstra is the 7th coach in NBA history to make at least 6 NBA Finals appearances, all since 2011. This year is arguably his best ever run, leading the number 8 seed to the NBA Finals to the NBA Finals for only the second time in NBA history. It's time to recognize Coach Spo is one of the greatest coaches ever, especially in the modern era of the NBA. And I'm going to just say, he's one of the best coaches ever. No matter what age aside, it doesn't matter what it is. Coach Spo is one of the best coaches in the NBA, period. NBA history, period. Tactical adjustments, motivation, heart, leader of men, X's and O's. He does it all. So Coach Spo is that guy, and he's definitely my favorite coach in the league. And like I said before, the best coach in the NBA. Talking about some of the adjustments that these Miami Heat going to make. How can Miami exploit Nikola Jokic in the pick and roll? The difference with Miami as opposed to other teams is that they have a center in Bam Adebayo that can and will initiate the offense. A lot of other teams don't have that. The only other team that can do such a thing is who? The Denver Nuggets, right? So Bam did that a lot in the New York Knicks series, neutralizing Mitchell Robinson at the rim a lot. He was taking him away from the rim, didn't allow him to be a weak side help defender. He did that a lot in the Bucks series with Brook Lopez, didn't allow him to be a weak side defender. If Bam can out-hustle Nikola Jokic, it will pay dividends for the Miami Heat. To be honest, I'm looking at them. I got to give Jokic a lot of credit, right? Because he has been out-hustling every big that he's played against in this postseason. And that I thought was one of the weaknesses of Jokic coming into this postseason, right? That other centers are going to be able to outrun him, to out-hustle him, get down the floor faster than him. But that hasn't been the case at all. I got to give Jokic a lot of credit. He's been hustling up and down the floor every possession on offense and on defense. So I got to give him a lot of credit. So we're going to see if Bam has been watching film, which I know he is, and he needs to make sure he's beating Jokic down the floor every single possession, no matter what it is. It's crazy because Jokic is technically one of the slowest bigs in the league, but throughout this playoffs, he's been one of the fastest bigs in the league. He's really been getting it up and down the floor, pushing the pace for his team on offense, and really has been getting back on defense to not allow too many transition points. So giving them both credit, I'm going to need Bam to really try to out-hustle Jokic in this particular series. On the Miami side also as well, can Caleb Martin continue his stellar postseason? He averaged just 9 points in the regular season. Caleb Martin proceeded to score 10 more on his average against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, averaging 19 in that series. Can he continue to be the Heat's second best scorer? We will see. Caleb Martin this season versus the postseason, we're from 9 points per game to 14 points per game in the postseason, from 4 rebounds to 5 rebounds. He upped his field goal percentage from 46% to 56%. He's upgraded his three-point percentage from 35% to 43%. He's been excellent in this postseason, and you got to give a lot of credit to Caleb Martin because he could have damn near won that Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He was just as good as Jimmy Butler in that Eastern Conference Finals, right? Especially in Game 7, he was probably the best player on the floor, which is crazy to say in that Eastern Conference Finals. So Caleb Martin has been stepping it up when it matters most, and let's see if he can continue that, right? Is Tyler Hero? Is he coming back? Is he ready to contribute? Who knows, right? Tyler Hero fractured his hand just before halftime of Game 1 against the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round. They said he's projected to come back maybe in Game 3. How much should Hero play? How effective can he be in the NBA Finals, right? People seem to forget that Tyler Hero is the leading scorer for the Miami Heat. Normally, right? He's their best ISO creator off the dribble. He's one of their best shooters, as we know before. He was the sixth man of the year before. Having him back is huge for the Miami Heat if his hand is all right. We'll see if his hand is better, if his hand is well enough to really play meaningful and contribute meaningful minutes for the Miami Heat. The Heat are a very tough team to game plan for because they have a lot of players that can really contribute in multiple ways, and you never know who may have a good game for the Miami Heat. So we're going to see who the Denver Nuggets try to key in on, who the game plan strategy is for to key on the Miami Heat on offense, and we're going to see if they can execute. Some series XFactors in this series in the NBA Finals for the Nuggets. Aaron Gordon, right? I got to give credit to Aaron Gordon as well. He's been playing exceptional defense the entire postseason. His defense, some of the numbers of his defense versus his primary matchups in the postseason against Karl Anthony Towns, shot 37% against Aaron Gordon. Against Kevin Durant, he shot 38% against Aaron Gordon. Against LeBron James, LeBron did a much better job on him. He shot, I think, almost 60% or 50-something%. So Aaron Gordon had a tough time with LeBron James. And against Jimmy Butler, we'll see how he's going to work out. Aaron Gordon, he has a great track record in this postseason of playing pretty good defense. What I'm looking out for is if Aaron Gordon gets in foul trouble against Jimmy Butler, right? Jimmy Butler is one of the few wings in this league that pump fakes you to death. He pump fakes you unlike any other wing in the league. He's going to pump fake 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get you up in the air multiple times, and then he may or may not shoot that shit. But I'll tell you, he's going to pump fake you before a shot. I'll tell you that right now. So look out for that in this series. Look out for Aaron Gordon biting on those pump fakes and how he handles that. Look out for Aaron Gordon's offensive rebounding as well in this series. Second most on the team with almost 3 offensive rebounds per game in the postseason. He's been doing well on that end, creating extra possessions for the Denver Nuggets. Bruce Brown is one of their X factors as well. He's one of the best pickups of the offseason, as I said so many times before. The defensive menace more than doubled his three-point attempt rate and was trusted so much by Mike Malone that they dealt away Bones Highland just to make Bruce Brown the de facto backup point guard after that. And he's going to be pivotal for the Nuggets coming off the bench in this series. The X factor for the Heat, I got about 3 choices. I'm not going to lie. It's a few X factors for the Heat. Kevin Love, Duncan Robinson, or Gabe Vincent. Kevin Love, let's talk about him first. I think matchups play a huge role in the playoffs, and Love could very well emerge from the slums of the Heat bench to provide some value, right? He has been benched for Caleb Barton in the Heat's last couple of games, and for good reason. They were playing against younger, faster, more athletic teams. Love, for all his defensive faults, is a solid post defender. Love's lower body strength could prevent Nikola Jokic from finding it too easy to maneuver in the post, maneuver his way on the block. Love's willingness to put his body on the line on charges should make him an annoying defensive presence against the Nuggets. He will defend Jokic in the post, allowing Bam, like I said before, to roam for a few possessions. Additionally, when Jokic is on the bench, Jeff Green has been acting as a de facto backup center for the Denver Nuggets recently. And that's also a matchup where Kevin Love can play. And that's a play that he can guard to play against Jeff Green if he's spotting up, or he can also rebound against Jeff Green. So we're going to see how Kevin Love plays a pivotal role in this NBA Finals. And we saw his track record. Every time Kevin Love is in the NBA Finals, he wins. He hasn't lost an NBA Finals yet. Another X factor for the Miami Heat, Duncan Robinson, right? Will he be able to contribute in this series if he can't defend? I think they can hide him on defense on a couple of possessions, and his off-ball movement is so critical for the Miami Heat in confusing opposing defenses that he's going to have to get some minutes. He was excellent in that Boston Celtics series. They didn't really make it a point to really attack Duncan Robinson on a lot of those switches, on a lot of his defensive assignments. So it allowed him to play a lot more possessions in that series, and he played well. He played excellent in that Boston Celtics series. So I'm looking for Duncan Robinson to play another big role in this NBA Finals. And a lot of Miami scoring, it comes from off-ball movement and screens because they don't have many ISO scorers left on this team. So Duncan Robinson is going to play a very, very important role. Gabe Vincent, I brought up before as well, one of the X factors. If he can average 15 to 20 in the NBA Finals, I really like the chances for the Miami Heat, right? He's one of the few guys who can come down the court and pull up from 3. He's averaged the most 3-point attempts on the Heat roster this playoff. So if he's scoring well, the Heat tend to play well. Determining factors in the NBA Finals, right? If the Nuggets are to win this NBA Finals, what has to happen? If I have to think of one thing, Jamal Murray has to be the number 1 scorer on the Denver Nuggets for them to win in this NBA Finals. If he is the number 1 scorer on their team in the NBA Finals, I think the Nuggets absolutely win in this series. If he goes off for multiple 30-plus point games, the Miami Heat are in trouble, in my opinion. They won't be able to supplement Jamal Murray really going off like that because there's no way they're going to stop Joker in this series, right? There's no way they're going to stop him. I'm telling you, it's a losing battle if you're trying to stop Joker. You just have to contain him a little bit. Your job should be to stop Jamal Murray. That's the guy that you can't let go off for 25 plus, 30 plus, 35 plus. You can't allow that at all. We know he can have major scoring outbursts as we've seen in this postseason. If the Heat are to win the NBA championship, what's going to have to happen? Playoff Jimmy is going to have to be Himmy. Jimmy Butler is going to have to perform again, and he's going to have to average about 28 plus in this NBA Finals, right? And also another factor, if Hero comes in this series and averages at least 10 to 14 points, I like the Heat chances as well, because it's going to be extra added scoring that they really, really, really need, because we know how anemic the Heat can be on offense. So I'm looking out for Hero to see if he comes in, if he could contribute anything, and it's got to be Jimmy Butler all the way. Got to be Jimmy Butler all the way. No stone can be unturned with Jimmy Butler, right? So let's get into some legacy talk going on this season for this NBA Finals. What does a title mean for Nikola Jokic's legacy? Where is he on the hierarchy of big men? I think not winning the MVP was a blessing in disguise for Nikola Jokic, right? Winning an NBA title for him would be huge for his legacy. Joker is the only two-time MVP in the last 75 years to never win a ring, never win a Finals MVP, never win an All-Star Game MVP, and I believe never beat at least 2 higher seeds in the playoffs in the postseason. This Finals is major for his legacy and for his wild supporters that are on Twitter, for the Jokic supporters, right? It's major. It's major for him. Nikola Jokic could vault himself into the top 20 all time with a title. I think this title will be that significant for his legacy. The streets is watching Nikola Jokic right now. The streets is watching how he performs. He's on the biggest stage right now. I expect him to perform well, and I expect him to do what he got to do. If he wins an NBA title this year, this will be major for him, and there is going to be so many conversations after that on where he is on the hierarchy of big men. You know, I have a couple of big men before him, but he's going to be up there. I'm not going to lie. He could possibly be top 10, top 20 big men all time. Top 10 big man all time, maybe. Not top 10 player. Maybe top 25, maybe top 30 player, top 20, maybe. But bigs, he could probably be a top 10 big all time with a championship. That's how important this championship is for him. Jimmy Butler. What does a championship mean for Jimmy Butler's legacy in Miami? What does a title mean for Jimmy Butler's legacy? It will mean everything for Jimmy Butler to win a title in Miami, right? So many people didn't put respect on Jimmy's name because he isn't supremely skilled, because he doesn't have the best handles, doesn't have the best jumper, but he's got the biggest heart in the league. And I don't think there is another player that I would want to go to battle in a crucial game or a crucial series over Jimmy Butler. They hated on him when he came to Miami, said he didn't deserve that max contract after leaving Philly after that one season. Pat and Spo, they took a chance on Jimmy, and it has paid off tremendously. A title for Jimmy Butler shuts all of the analytics up once and for all. No more predicting NBA shit based off your calculator equations, your graph charts, any of that shit. Watch the damn games and shut up. Heart over stats. Jimmy Butler winning a title in 2023 would be amazing for the league. It would shut a lot of that analytic shit out the door, because nobody had the Miami Heat going to the NBA Finals, let alone winning an NBA championship. So it would be huge. It would be big time for Jimmy Butler to win a title. And I'm looking out for that. It's going to be amazing, right? Closing out the show now, looking at the last things I'm looking at in this series. Will rest or rust play a role in this particular series? I talked about it before a little bit. The Nuggets have an unprecedented amount of days going into this game one. Teams like Denver with at least a 5-day rest advantage heading into the NBA Finals have gone 10-6 in game ones. Miami needs to win one of these first two on the road to have a real legitimate shot at winning this title, being the underdog, right? All the pressure is on Denver in this series. All of the pressure is on Denver. They are favored to win. Heavy favorites. Home court advantage as well. Nuggets are undefeated at home in the playoffs. And the Miami Heat, they are at their best on the road in the NBA playoffs. So it's going to be a real clashing style, right? It's hard sometimes, to see true teams for really what they are. But Miami is special. There's belief. there's camaraderie, there's toughness, there's culture. Do the Heat have a chance to become the first number 8 seed to win a title? Of course they do. If you're still doubting the legitimacy of this Miami Heat team, I don't know what to tell you right now. It's destiny time for the Miami Heat, but is it destiny time for the Nuggets? I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure if the Nuggets went through enough playoff lumps yet to win that NBA title. So on the destiny scale, it's advantage Heat, in my opinion. The Miami Heat have gone through their highs and lows throughout the NBA playoffs with this particular core and this particular unit. So they are extremely, extremely hungry. So I'm going to see how they come out. And we know they have the vets and Coach Spo, Pat Riley, letting these boys know it's go time. With that being said, predictions for this NBA Finals. This is a tough one for me, man. I'm trying to go heart over head over heart. I don't even know what I want to do in this series, man, because this one is kind of tough. It actually could go either way. With that being said, I'm going with the underdogs. Fuck it. Miami Heat is 6 with Jimmy Butler as your Finals MVP. Quote me on it. I don't care if I'm wrong, whatever. I don't care. I'm going with Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat to win the NBA Finals in 6 games. It's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. They're going to have to defy the odds. They're going to have to defeat the odds. But they've done it before. Why not? Why not? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see, family. So, family, I appreciate you joining me once again for another episode for this NBA Finals preview. It seems like this NBA season has flown by. Almost at the end of the road. We got free agency coming up. We got the NBA draft coming up. There's a lot of shit going on. So I appreciate you joining me as always throughout this whole entire NBA season and throughout the playoffs as well. Make sure you hit me up on Twitter and IG or Facebook with your NBA takes. I'm going to try to go live after one of these finals games. I'm not sure which one. Maybe number 2, maybe number 4. We'll see how the schedule works out. Let me know if y'all are interested also as well. And if you want to join me in on one of those lives or if you want to tap in on one of those lives, let me know. Send me a voicemail with your thoughts. 908-718-1592. Make sure you copy your merch, family. I appreciate you, of course. I appreciate all the love. Everybody who's been writing me, letting me know they've been appreciating all the extra content throughout the playoffs. I appreciate you, family. Love is love. I love y'all just like y'all love me. Subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend, family. This is episode 210 NBA Finals preview. And we out.